Picture this. It is late 2019. The trailer for Cats drops. The internet stops what it is doing and screams. Digital fur technology, human faces, cat bodies, nightmare fuel. Memes are born in real time. One tweet says, "This feels like a dare from God." Another just posts a photo and writes, "Jail." Critics are sharpening their knives before the movie even comes out. And right in the middle of it, there he is. Idris Elba, shirtless digital cat, green eyes, saying lines about the heaviside layer with total seriousness. Cats opens. Reviews are brutal. People call it cursed. One critic writes, "A hairball of a movie." Another says, "A movie so strange, you will question reality." Almost the whole cast gets roasted, except him. The same reviews that trash the movie still make little side notes like Idris Elba is oddly compelling as McCavity, or even under layers of CGI, Idris Elba has presence. How does that happen? How do you end up in one of the most mocked movies of the century and walk away cooler than ever? This is the Idris Elba paradox. He can be in a flop, a mess, even a full-on disaster, and somehow our respect for him does not move. Critics can hate the film, but they never really hate Idris. If anything, his name is the one thing trying to hold the project together. And now, just as this bulletproof status feels unbreakable, he is making a move no one expected. He is slowly walking away from acting. He is saying, "I want to direct. I want to be behind the camera." So, how did he build this strange shield around his image? Why do we keep watching him, even when we know the movie might be bad? And what does it mean if he stops standing in front of the lens and starts controlling it? To understand that, we have to rewind. Back before the digital fur. Back to Baltimore. Fast forward to the early 2000s. Premium TV is still young. HBO is looking for the next Sopranos. Enter The Wire, a show about drugs, police, and power in Baltimore, created by David Simon, a former reporter. The cast is mostly unknowns. One of them is a tall British actor from Hackney, London, named Idrissa Acuna Elba. Born in September 1972, parents from Sierra Leone and Ghana, he has knocked around British TV in the 1990s, done some guest spots. Nothing huge. On The Wire, he plays Russell Stringer Bell. On paper, Stringer is just another drug dealer. But Elba does something different. He plays him like a CEO, a man who goes to business school at night and runs a criminal empire by day. He does not shout to prove he is dangerous. He lowers his voice. He barely moves. He uses silence. In one scene, Stringer sits at a table, listening to another dealer rant. Idris just looks at him, calm, measuring. You can feel his brain working. When he finally speaks, it is a quiet threat. The room shifts. That stillness becomes his superpower. He is tall, broad-shouldered, with a deep, bass voice. But he does not have to wave his arms or chew scenery. He lets other people burn up all the oxygen while he just exists. The camera loves that. Viewers notice. Critics notice.
He puts the organized in organized crime. He's intelligent, strategic, cautious, and cold-blooded. In another life, he might be leading a legitimate business to global success, but in this life, he's the number 2 in command for a gun-and-run drug ring.
Even people who have never met a drug dealer in their lives know. This guy feels real, smart, scary in a way that does not look like TV acting. Even more interesting, Elba himself says he has never watched The Wire. Years later, he admits he avoids going back. He worries seeing his old work will mess with his head, tie him too much to the past. But for the audience, that Stringer Bell performance builds what you could call a reservoir of cool, a deep, stored-up trust. For 2 decades after, every time we see his face on a poster, a part of us remembers that guy in the community college class, plotting over a notebook. That is the foundation of the paradox. From there, his career moves fast. He does British TV. Then, in 2010, he becomes John Luther, the haunted detective in the BBC show Luther. Trench coat, gray suit, barely holding it together. He wins a Golden Globe in 2012 for it. Around the same time, he starts bouncing between drama and big studio projects. In 2013, he plays Nelson Mandela in Mandela. Long Walk to Freedom, serious, respectful, awards season stuff. Then, he slips into Marvel as Heimdall, the all-seeing guardian of the Bifrost in the Thor movies and Avengers, Age of Ultron. He is not the lead, but every time he shows up, you sit up a little straighter. He jumps to animation. In Zootopia, he is Chief Bogo, a Cape Buffalo police chief. In The Jungle Book, he is Shere Khan, a tiger who sounds like he has seen some things. In Finding Dory, he plays a sea lion with that same laid-back authority. If you have kids in the 2010s, there is a good chance their first Idris Elba moment is his voice coming out of a cartoon animal. By the late 2010s and early 2020s, he is everywhere. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, where he literally calls himself a black Superman. The Harder They Fall on Netflix, playing a cold-blooded outlaw. The Sonic the Hedgehog films, where his voice as Knuckles helps push his lifetime domestic box office in big franchises past $5.1 billion. Support roles alone, about $7.39 billion worldwide. His lead roles, which are often in smaller, riskier movies, around $900 million. Those are wild numbers, but here is where the paradox really kicks in, because mixed in with the hits are some real clunkers. Let's do a quick tale of the tape. On one side, the peaks, Luther, the role most people point to when they say, that man needs his own detective franchise. Beasts of No Nation, a brutal war drama where he plays a commander in an African civil war. Critics praise his work. Some call it one of his best performances. The Suicide Squad, James Gunn's bloody fun reboot where Elba plays Bloodsport, a mercenary who somehow makes Afraid of Rats into a character arc. Zootopia, he is a cartoon buffalo, but he still feels like the strict boss you do not want to disappoint. On the other side, The Valleys, The Dark Tower, a long-awaited Stephen King adaptation that finally hits theaters in 2017. Fans have waited for years. The story is huge, the mythology is deep, the budget is big, the stakes are high. Idris plays Roland Deschain, the gunslinger. Matthew McConaughey plays the Man in Black. What could possibly go wrong? Almost everything. The runtime is short, the world building is thin. Fans complain it feels like the trailer for a series that never got made. Reviews are rough, rotten scores. People online say they did The Dark Tower dirty, but even the angriest fans add one line at the end. Idris Elba was perfect casting though. The movie fails the book, but Elba does not fail the role. Obsessed, a 2009 thriller with Beyoncé and Ali Larter. A Lifetime movie with a studio budget. Critics roll their eyes. The plot is predictable. But again, people say, Idris Elba is the only reason I watched this to the end. Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, a messy Nicolas Cage comic book sequel. Fire Skulls, awkward CGI, wild tone. Elba shows up as a French priest turned warrior. Fans say things like, movie is trash, Idris is cool though. The Mountain Between Us. On paper, it looks like a classic awards play. Two strangers, plane crash, snowy wilderness, romantic survival, Idris Elba and Kate Winslet. It should work. The reality? The movie lands with a soft thud. People do not buy the romance. The plot feels thin. Box office is weak, but reviews once again circle back to the same safe point. Elba and Winslet do their best with what they have. You can run this pattern through a bunch of his projects. Beast, a man versus lion thriller. Not a great script. He sells the fear. Hobbs and Shaw, ridiculous plot. Physics set on fire. Fans still quote his Black Superman line. So why does he keep coming out clean? One reason is the way he plays the stoic hero. Idris Elba is a master at picking up a so-so line of dialogue and delivering it like it matters. He gives weight to thin writing. A simple, "we go now," out of his mouth sounds like a full speech. He knows how to stand, how to hold a gun, how to listen in a scene. He also understands when to underplay. A lot of actors, when stuck in a bad movie, start trying too hard. They push, they overact, trying to force greatness. Elba does the opposite. He stays calm, grounded, almost like he knows the movie around him is collapsing. But his character does not have to collapse with it. That contrast makes him feel stronger. And then there is the voice, Idris. Elba's voice is almost a cheat code, deep, smooth, confident. The kind of voice that sounds like it knows the ending before the story starts. There is real science behind how we react to voices like that. Studies show that lower-pitched voices are often linked in our minds to leadership and trust. It is not always fair. It is just how our brains tend to react. So when you hear Idris Elba speak as Shere Khan in The Jungle Book, or as Knuckles in Sonic, or as Chief Bogo yelling at Judy Hopps, your brain is already going, this character matters, listen to him. That means he can dominate a movie even when he is not on screen. Just the sound of him sets the tone. Add all of this up, and you get the Idris Elba brand, reliable gravity, even when the movie is floating off into space. Now jump to the mid-2020s. Idris Elba is in his early 50s. He has been acting since the mid-1990s. He has done street dramas, superheroes, animated animals, presidents, prime ministers. He has been the subject of online campaigns to play James Bond. He has hosted DJ sets, made music, produced shows. His supporting roles have helped earn studios over $7.39 billion worldwide. His name is gold in casting rooms. And then, in 2025, he starts saying something interesting in interviews. He tells Entertainment Weekly he will eventually retire from acting. Not tomorrow. Not in a dramatic slam the door way. But he is clear. He wants to focus more on directing. At the same time, he is playing leaders on screen. In new films, he shows up as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in one project and the President of the United States in another, with titles like Heads of State and A House of Dynamite. He has literally risen from corner boy in Baltimore fiction to leader of the free world in blockbuster fiction. And in the real world, at the start of 2026, he is knighted in the New Year honors for services to young people. He becomes Sir Idris Elba. Think about that arc. Born in Hackney in 1972, goes from working odd jobs, DJing in clubs, taking any bit part he can get, to Sir Idris, box office machine, playing presidents saying, "I want to call the shots now." It does not take long for people to ask the obvious question, is this about the paradox?
Be good at what you do and get well paid for it to get an honour. Idris Elba got an honour for being a brilliant actor, but also for his charity work. That I can live with that, but I'm not sure that it is honouring the right people for the right reasons. Well, to discuss this,
If you are Idris Elba, you know exactly what it feels like to give your full effort to a script that is not on your level. To watch reviews slam the movie and then say, "But Idris is good," to have your taste and your image praised while the project around you gets dragged. At some point, maybe that stops being fun. So the logic is simple. If the problem is not your acting, maybe the only way to fix it is to move behind the camera, to control what gets made, not just who stands in the frame. He has already been producing. He has directed before. The shift to full-time directing is not a huge left turn. It is more like the final step of a plan, and in a way, it is the only real challenge left. He has already proven he can survive disaster movies, bad CGI, limp scripts, and online roasting without losing his cool status. The Idris Elba paradox is solved from his side. No matter what the film does, people still trust him, but that trust is also pressure. Because if you are the one actor everyone believes in, the guy people watch in spite of the movie, at some point, you might want to build something that is worthy of that faith. So, what does this say about Hollywood? One, it shows how rare true star power is now. Most actors are only as safe as their last 3 movies. A couple of bombs and the industry moves on. But Elba's appeal floats above the box office chart. Parents know him from cartoons. Crime fans know him from Luther and The Wire. Action fans know him from Marvel and Fast and Furious. Everyone has their own Idris. 2, it exposes how studios use that safety net. If you look at the pattern, he is often brought in as a kind of quality stamp. Have a risky franchise movie? Put Idris in as the wise guide. Got a thin script? Hand it to him and let his presence sell it. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it just delays the crash. 3, it raises a bigger question. Are we watching Idris Elba for the stories or just for the aura? When you see a poster with his face on it now, you almost do not care about the plot. Your brain says, okay, there will be something here, even if it is just him looking tired and smarter than everyone else. That is the paradox. His talent makes him safe, but it can also trap him in material that does not deserve him. So, when Sir Idris Elba quietly starts stepping back from acting roles and stepping forward as a director, it is not just a career move. It is almost a response to his own legend. He is not retiring because he lost. He is retiring because he won too often in movies that did not. He has been the best thing in bad films, the anchor in chaotic blockbusters, the only serious note in a chorus of CGI cats. he has carried enough. Now, he wants to decide what is worth carrying. Whether Hollywood ever finds another actor with this exact mix of presence, voice, and public goodwill is an open question. The industry keeps trying to manufacture the next Idris, but that is the thing about paradoxes. They do not repeat on command. For 20+ years, audiences have had one simple reaction whenever his name showed up in a cast list, no matter how shaky the trailer looked. Well, at least Idris is in it. If he really does step away from acting, that little safety thought goes with him. And for the first time in a long time, bad movies will have to try surviving without their favorite secret weapon.